3 minutes until showtime. 2 minutes until showtime. 1 minute until showtime. Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Insurrection, obstruction, indictments, civilly liable for sexual abuse. The one man responsible for all that could be sitting in a prison cell on election day and still be elected commander-in-chief for these United States. That man is beholden to Putin, weakened NATO last time around, and is currently tying himself to wealthy Saudi oil money. He enriched himself when government stayed at his properties. He campaigned on wanting to use government to go after his political rivals and wants to expand executive power. If Donald Trump is reelected, our nation is lost. So let's roll up our sleeves, get to work, and tell them no more before it's too late.
It's always 914-803-4131. That's 914-803-4131. If you're calling in, please make sure to leave your area code in the chat, either on liberaldanradio.com, which is the YouTube channel, or twitch.tv/liberaldanradio. We do not monitor the Blog Talk Radio chat, so as such, your messages will probably go unseen there, but leaving your comments in both of those places help the algorithms and help me see who's calling in. So there you go for that. You can help the show out again by liking the stream, sharing it to your friends, subscribing to the channel on YouTube, following on Twitch. If you have Amazon Prime, you could subscribe for free on Twitch as well. You also get you can subscribe, become a liberal Danimal for as little as $2 a month on YouTube. Increasing levels is there as well. YouTube, we now have implemented the custom badges and some custom emojis as well. So if you want to have fun with those, you can as well. As I get more subscribers, I think I get access to more and more emojis. Those are the several emojis that I've created so far. We'll go for more as time goes by. You can buy me a coffee. Go to liberaldan.com, click the Buy Me a Cider button, or go to buymeacoffee.com/liberaldanradio. Either way gets you there. One-time contribution. You become a patron for monthly contributions there too. You can Venmo me, Liberal Dan on Venmo. There is also, I'm probably going to be starting a new game. That'll be a week progress, a free game to play. I'll talk about it probably more here on Wednesday, but I'll probably reveal the game Tuesday on tomorrow night's stream. But here's the important thing. If you want to help the stream out tomorrow, come to the Nerdy Dan stream just for a little bit, just to hang out. Because apparently the Nerdy Dan stream now, I have 9 free memberships that will be given out to members of to people who are in the audience. So if you want a free Twitch membership, that'll be given out randomly by the subscription fairy or however it works, because of the last thing I did. All you got to do is come to the Twitch channel for nerdydan.com and hang out there. Probably around 8-ish or so. I think we've cleared that hurdle, but you don't have to stay long. Just if you want to take advantage of that and get the free subscription, you can get it that way. I think it probably gives preference to people who are watching live versus people who are just followers, but I don't know. This is the first time I've had a sponsorship that included free subscriptions, and apparently you have to tap the subscription fairy on the shoulder, and then they come in and they go, "Hey, subscription fairy, here you go." So there you go. That's how it goes. You know, as Trump says, where is it? There it is. I scrolled past it.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Speaking of Donald Trump, I had to go pick up my kids today from the airport, and we were like, well, let's make sure to get there early enough because we don't want to get it bothered by the traffic, because Donald Trump is in New Orleans today, too. He is at the home of New Orleans Republican business owner Boise Bollinger, who trying to gain money so he can try and beat Donald Trump. Because even though New Orleans is in no way going to vote for Donald Trump, never will he win the New Orleans parish proper, so to speak. He'll win Louisiana, but he's never going to win New Orleans, but never is going to win this New Orleans area. However, the reason he's here is not because he's campaigning for votes, because he knows he's going to win Louisiana. He's campaigning for money. He's trying to get money because he needs as much money as possible to, pay off his legal bills. People will say it's to pay for the campaign, but we all know it's to pay for his legal bills, right? We all know that, right? So look at those different colors of channel membership badges. We got the purple, we got the red. Some people are going to be getting multicolors, and as you go longer, you might see even different colors after that as well. So, it is what it is. But anyway, shouts out to, you got Fancy, Nerd Misha, Suzanne, Steve, Chad, Jeff, who else had I miss? I got Aaron, one half of the mod squad here. Fancy has Reba McEntire in my head now because of the song. So there's that. But yeah, I guess if you look at the emotes, there are you can type in the codes. It's Liberal Dan, Danimals, and podcast, but the emotes are all right there on the first rung of the emote thing. Just it's some sort of AI version of me. Although I don't think AI understands the difference between a goatee and a full-on beard, so it's me, and then Danimals Unite, just kind of in a circle, and then of course my Liberal Dan Radio logo as an emoji as well. So I think I could add one more if I really wanted to, but those are the three that we're going with right now. I tried to get one with an orange cat on my shoulder, but that wasn't working. It wasn't doing a good job, so to speak. So maybe we'll have to try and learn the AI to help it become self-aware, as Arnold might say. Although I usually don't pay attention too much to commercials, but I do like the new State Farm commercials with Arnold in it. And he's like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And the person's like, neighbor. That's what I'm saying, neighbor. Yeah. Anyway, maybe I'm just easily amused. Who knows? Thank you, Dakota Dave, for smashing that like button. Appreciate you. Oh, so we have 10 viewers and 11 likes, so maybe somebody did a drive-by smashing. Maybe that's known to happen from time to time. I've done that over on Dude's channel, including last Wednesday when I did it. I stopped the podcast on Wednesday. I activated all the monetization stuff, and then stopped Swung by Dudes, liked it, and then ran away, so I can go deal with my plans. But one thing I did want to ask, I think I have it set properly, because I don't want to burden people who are watching the live stream with ads on YouTube. I mean, I think ads on Twitch I don't think there's anything I can do about that. If there is, maybe, I don't know. But I think ads on Twitch are just going to happen, and, that's just how it is. That's just how it be.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. But I'm trying to make it so that the only ads that roll are on already pre-recorded videos and not necessarily on live streaming videos, or at least I've made it so that the only ads that run are ads that run if I tell it to. So I think I can hit a button that says insert ad, and it will insert an ad, and then you could watch an ad. But I think the only time I would do that is like if I needed to go run into the bathroom or something, or if I had to go deal with an emergency mid-podcast, I'd be like, all right, let me go take a break real quick, here's an ad. So, Mish, I don't get ads in live stream. Well, you would have not gotten an ad yet, because this is the first day that ads have been... this is the first day of the podcast with full-on monetization. You shouldn't get ads today either. That's what I'm just saying. You just shouldn't get ads in the live currently as it stands. I'm trying to make it so that you would only see it maybe as you come in, or as you come in, or maybe as if an emergency takes place and I had to be like, here, I'm quickly going to put an ad in, sorry, you got to go run and deal with something, I'll be right back. That sort of thing. Dakota Dave got an ad at the start. Okay, so that worked properly. Getting an ad at the start is right. But I don't want an ad in the middle. That's my thing, is I don't want to interrupt the conversation and have people miss content just because they threw an ad in there. I'm fine with ads being put on things after the fact. Like, I'll put ads in on these videos when they're replays. No problem. But I don't want people to miss live things. So, anyway, so if you happen to see an ad during the stream and I haven't warned y'all that an ad is coming real quick, let me know, because that means I have to fix something with the ad with the monetization of the live stream videos. Just anyway, because it's brand new, because I just hit 1,000, yay, and very excited about that. I'm very disappointed, unfortunately, about something else. On the weekend of July 19th, 20th, 21st, I was going to be in Dallas. I am still going to be in Dallas. So was Nerd Halen. Nerd Halen was supposed to be performing live in Fort Worth on July 20th. Unfortunately, they've canceled that concert. Don't know why. I mean, things happen. Things change. Hairstyles change. Interest rates fluctuate. Who can name that movie? But, you know, sure, I was looking forward very much so to being able to see Hal and meet all the other sparklers that might be at Hal's show, at the Nerd Halen show on the 20th, and unfortunately it seems like there will not be any meeting of Hal Sparks on the 20th. Fortunately, what I did do is I did for the first time ever, I paid a little couple extra bucks for the protection of just in case anything. Now, I'm sure the non-refundable part, there are refundable parts that would automatically be refunded, but I think the protection covers the non-refundable parts, so I should be getting everything back. So, yay. So there's that. Thank you, Chad, on the congrats for getting the monetized. I mean, it's getting 1,000 has been the goal for a very long time, and the fact that we finally got it is awesome. And the fact that it was because of a Hal Spark raid just made it even much more sweet, because Hal Sparks is why
90 seconds.
No, not 90 seconds. Why was the show listed as 15 minutes? Stupid. Save. We are no longer 90 seconds away on Blog Talk Radio. Sometimes Blog Talk Radio is broken. Anywho. But, so what else? Random things to talk about before I get to the topics of the show today. I have my kids back. Kids left for Maryland on Wednesday. Just came back today, so missed them. So it's very nice to have my kids back. So yay on that. Very happy to have them back in the house. It was very, 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 very quiet in the house without them here. Kind of too quiet. Even with the 3 cats and the dog, and the fact that the little spicy one likes to torment the dog. But, so they're back. Happy for that. There's a little money stress, but you know, I'm cashing out some doing a home equity loan, fixed rate, cashing out some of the interest, some of the equity in my house to kind of pay off some debts that were incurred with the death of my mother-in-law, some other credit card debts that came in or whatever, and to try and kind of help pay the cruise, some cruise expenses that we had paid for the cruise a while back, you know, for the anniversary. Don't know how the timing is going to be. Hopefully everything times out exactly right so that the money comes in, we get the cards paid off, and I still have some spending money for the cruise. So, knock on wood. But it's one of the reasons why I've been kind of pushing these games, and I had people to jump on the games and play the games. And I understand if you don't play games, fine, don't worry about it. But it's one of the reasons why I'm trying to get people to participate with that as well. And some of y'all have been doing really great, especially Erin. She's been, you know, playing lots of those games and helping me out a bunch. I just got $400 today from one of the games that I did, so that's been awesome. But anyway, so just, you know, if you could just do things to kind of help promote the channel, even just, you know, share some extra things, watch some extra videos, comment on some other videos, get some things going, you know, get some more visual, what's the word I'm looking for? Help more people see the channel, I guess, just to get more people in. Now that we're monetized, the more videos people see, the more money will be generated. It'll help me offset some of these costs. So, and if you can, you know, Venmo, Buy Me a Cider, Patreon, YouTube, all the other ways that the show can be helped. Amazon Prime for Twitch, again, all those other things. Wonderful things for y'all to help me out to do. Appreciate everything that y'all do. Of course, I appreciate everybody who comes in every single show, Mondays and Wednesdays. There'll probably also be a show Thursday. There will definitely be a show Thursday. I'm skipping my in-person gaming thing on Thursday. I'm going to be doing a Mystery Science Theater 3000 type viewing of the show, or more like a Riff Tracks type. So I'll have this up. So we'll have Joel and Tom Servo and Crow behind us, and I'll be making my commentary on the show on what's going on during the debate. However, I'm not going to be airing the debate like behind me or whatever. So basically, the idea is you watch the debate on your screen, I watch the debate on my screen, and then you also listen to my commentary of the debate on my screen. That's pretty much how I'm going to have it go. So, because I don't know, I don't want to get hit with copyrights, because I think I'm not wrong in saying that the first one is CNN, and I think Hal got screwed one time on Twitch for a while, simply because he had I think the CNN one in the background, which sucks. Let's see. Jeff, has anyone heard of mushroom coffee? I saw an ad for it the other day, never heard of it. Now everybody's going to get ads for mushroom coffee. I don't know if I've heard of mushroom coffee, but I've heard of the monkey poop coffee, where the monkeys eat the coffee, coffee beans, and they get fermented in the digestive system, and then, they poop them out, and that's how they collect the beans. Which doesn't sound very appetizing. Mushroom coffee doesn't sound appetizing to me either, simply because of the fact that I don't like mushrooms, nor do I like coffee. But maybe a double negative makes a positive, so who knows? I might like it. You never know. It's called Rise. Does it have caffeine to help get a rise out of you? Oh, looks like we got Khalil calling in, maybe? I'm believing this is Khalil. Hey, what's going on, Khalil? Good to talk to you today. How's your day?
Doing okay. The night at the campsite didn't go so well, but the next day it went pretty good.
What happened at night?
I just got overheated by the fire and by the air, and then there was a lot of noise. Because, see, where we were, there's a construction on the borders. Like, one part of West Virginia, they're doing dam work, construction, and then the other ones, they're doing road construction. And at night, I heard some coyotes and some hammering. And then the overheating from the 90 degrees and the fire, and then the darkness, they had to calm me down.
But the day went well?
But yeah, the day went well, though.
That's good. It's been a long minute since I've been camping. I used to do Boy Scouts, used to camp all the time, and now it's never. So it's been a while. But camping is a fun experience. I did enjoy doing it. So,
to tell you the truth, if I ever have to hear construction at night or any time, I'd rather not be around a bunch of tall trees, a bunch of tall buildings. I'd rather be around in like a smaller area. Not smaller, not necessarily big or small, but like a place where it's not a bunch of tall things in the area.
Right.
Because
it kind of makes you think like if they're constructing, it might fall down or something.
Well, just the sound ricochet off of buildings and trees.
Okay.
The hammering and the jackhammer.
Fair enough.
But,
what else is going on with you? Any other big plans coming up?
Huh?
What's else is going on with you? Any other big plans coming up?
I'm hoping to either go to Richmond in September or in late June or early July, going to Young Life. I don't know if you know about that. It's a national camp.
Not sure. I'm not sure I've heard of it, but cool. I hope you're able to.
Yeah, I'm hoping to take the bus, the coach bus.
Cool. So, what else? Anything else you want to chat about, or just a little short update?
I also was looking up something, and it's not something that people say, but it's something that needs to be addressed, because I was looking it up last night. Most people who say you can't use your disability to get out of stuff or get out of trouble, I'm not saying all people who say it, but most people who say it are full of BS, because they'll say it when it comes to you taking responsibility or getting punished, but they don't say it when it comes to giving you equal rights. And that's something that's not being addressed as much as it should be, as far as, disabled people going to jail. The system and the supporters, and like I said, most people who say it the loudest, or say you get treated equally no matter who you are in jail, the loudest, most of those people don't believe in giving you equal rights, or if the jail doesn't give you equal rights, they don't say anything about it. They're just either silent or they try to argue.
Sounds like the same kind of people that might say something like, well, if you have a disability and you don't want to be treated badly in prison, don't commit a crime, or something like that, right?
Yeah, I even had a guy say that. I was trying to tell him that they only treated you differently because they only treat you the same as far as your disability, as far as you going to jail, but once you get in there, they treat you differently. And he said, well, just don't break the law. And I'm like, someone said that he wasn't a man of his word as far as the law treating everyone equally.
Well, I mean, if conservatives are often, I'm assuming the person was conservative, but conservatives are nothing but very not just hypocritical, but very predictable as well. So
yeah,
easy to predict.
But
like I've called my shots so many times with conservatives, it's hilarious.
Yeah, and I'm just wary of anybody that says it's the loudest, because, like I said, lots of people who are able-bodied, or even disabled people themselves, that will say that they'll just say it just to convenience themselves, and they're just with the system. But as far as, because I went to the Mormon church, and they said the same thing, but when it came to me going on a trip alone, all of a sudden I need someone with me or I couldn't go. It's like I'm working hard, just like everybody else, to follow this rule on something, but then when it comes to me going on a trip alone, I'm not going to have you speak for someone. First of all, I don't want people speaking for other people as far as I'm concerned. Second of all, you want me to follow the same law, same rules, give me the same rights. So I just decided I wasn't going to go to that church. I said I'm not going to play those games with people. Right.
Makes total sense.
Yeah. But,
all right, man. Well, thank you so much again for listening, for calling in. I appreciate you. I'm going to move on to the first topic, but you have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you later on.
You too.
All right, have a good one, Khalil.
All right.
Bye. All right, Khalil, everybody, friend of the show, regular caller. Appreciate him as always. Let's see. What's the first thing I wanted to talk about was anti-Semitism. Well, actually, no. Let's first, before we do that, let's just go ahead. I promised this last week, and then things got in the way. But let's go ahead and play this week's, it should have been last week's, but this week's Hypocrite of the Week. This week's Hypocrites of the Week are Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry and anyone else who believes that the Ten Commandments should be displayed in the classroom and who are also supporting Donald Trump for president. See, if you think the Ten Commandments are important, maybe you shouldn't be supporting the guy who violated damn near all of them. Of course, hypocrisy is a conservative prerequisite. To see who next week's Hypocrite of the Week will be, tune in live Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central on liberaldanradio.com or twitch.tv/liberaldanradio for more talk from the left. That's right. And so here's something else that's been going on, though, with the Ten Commandments in Louisiana classrooms thing. And, well, two things. One, Jeff Landry was basically like, I'm looking forward to being sued, because that's the intent here, right? The intent here is they feel that they have a very friendly Supreme Court because it's an activist conservative Supreme Court. So they feel like this was the time to try and pass a law to get the Supreme Court to relook at this issue, because we've already decided this issue, but they want the Supreme Court to relook at this issue to basically allow them to be evangelical about their beliefs in the classroom yet again when they shouldn't be able to. So he's like, let's do it. Come sue me. I want it. Because that's not a bug. That's a feature of what's going on here. But a lot of other people have been responding to this by saying, oh, well, if you're going to have this in the classroom, then that opens the door to having that in the classroom. And you should be able to put the pillars of the Quran or Islam, or you should be able to put the other 603 Jewish commandments. You should be able to put the tenets of the Church of Satan or what have you. And I'm like, that's not the point. No. Perhaps there's some rhetorical points to be made by trying to point out that, well, what if you lived in a country where you were the minority religion and they tried to put, tracts of the Quran on your children's classroom? You wouldn't like that, would you? And all sorts of things like that. But you don't answer wrong-headedness with more wrong-headedness. The answer isn't to put up more things. The answer is to not have anything up. That's the answer. Do I believe the Supreme Court's going to do the right thing eventually? Not one bit. Do I hope they surprise me? Sure. But I don't believe, by any stretch of the imagination, that we're going to have a good ruling out of this activist conservative Supreme Court. But you never know. Could happen. But everybody who's sitting here trying to say, oh, well, now we can get all these other religious things into the classroom too. No, that's not the point. The point is we should have none of them. Anyway. So, let's see. Look at the... lots of talk about the mushroom coffee and mushroom powder in the chat. Interesting. We should get mushroom coffee and or mushroom powder as a sponsor. Like, find whoever makes it and be like, since everyone's talking about it now, and be like, Liberal Dan Radio coming to you from the Mushroom Powder Studios or something. Who knows? Hold on a second. Wife had to ask me something real quick. So, anyway. Let's see. Shouts out to Kimchi, by the way. Good to see you. That new Liberal Dan Radio loyalty badge looks good on you. So, let's see. So we got the hypocrite of the week out of the way, but let's talk about anti-Semitism for a second, shall we? Or maybe more than a second, because there's some interesting things to discuss. There's some interesting things to consider. Joe Biden made some comments about a protest that took place that was supposedly a pro-Palestinian protest in front of a synagogue in California. And not only is it just a synagogue in California, it's like a synagogue in California in Pico Robinson, which is apparently, I didn't know the name of this community, but it's one of the most densely populated Jewish areas in the entirety of California. So very large Jewish community there. And they were having a thing there. And I say thing there because we're going to put a pin in that for a second. And there was a protest outside of the synagogue, and not only was the protest outside the synagogue, the protest was barring people from entering the synagogue. So they weren't just with their signs saying, "Hey, we don't like what you're doing in there." They were saying, "Hey, we're not going to let you go in there and do what you're talking about, do what you're doing." Of course, initially, when I first heard this, I'm like, well, let's go do some investigation, because when you hear that people are preventing Jews from entering a synagogue, that's not good at all. Now, still not good, but they weren't preventing Jews from entering a synagogue so they could pray. They were preventing people from entering the synagogue so that they could hear some sort of spiel about some sort of real estate opportunity that's available in Israel. And these things have been going on across the country, and other places have been doing these sorts of things, and I don't know exactly where in Israel proper these lands, these properties were being sold. Now, for example, if this is something within like the original, boundaries of Israel after the War of Independence, if you're selling land there, whatever, fine. If you're selling properties in occupied West Bank or in the Gaza Strip, then no, that's not okay at all, and I have a big problem with that. But the visibility of a bunch of people preventing Jewish people from entering their own house of worship, still just not good. Maybe they should consider not doing such protests outside of a synagogue. Conversely, on the other side of the coin, maybe if you're holding a real estate venture ceremony or not sermon, seminar, that's the word I'm looking for, seminar. If you're doing a real estate seminar, maybe the best place to do it is not in a synagogue. A, it's not a matter of worship. It's a seminar. B, you're just kind of just exemplifying all sorts of frickin' stereotypes right there. I mean, how many stereotypes are you trying to perpetuate by doing we're going to have a seminar on real estate buying in Israel in our synagogue? Why couldn't you rent out the local bingo hall? Or why couldn't you rent out some other place that wasn't your synagogue to kind of at least make, keep the things separate? Right? Again, this doesn't excuse the actions of the people who are barring the people from entering their own house of worship for regardless of whatever it was. That doesn't look good either. Preventing Jews from entering their own synagogue looks abhorrent and is abhorrent, regardless of what was going on in there. But maybe you should also not be trying to drum up sales for real estate companies in the middle of the synagogue if you want to avoid certain religious and ethnic stereotypes that tend to go on about, us. Right? Tim Farrell, real estate grift. I mean, depending on how they, I don't know if it's a grift or not. I mean, I'm sure the real estate investors probably paid the synagogue people some money to be like, hey, let's do a seminar here, but they could have done the seminar anywhere. It just, I don't know. Some of those things just make it seem a little more icky than some people were initially saying that it is. But if it even got into violence, though, that's the thing. It got violent. Los Angeles Police Department officers were first sent to the 900 block of Pico Boulevard after learning the ongoing incident. It reportedly began when pro-Palestinian supporters gathered outside the Addis Torah synagogue and attempted to block the entrance, where they were promptly met by pro-Israel demonstrators. Both sides could be seen carrying flags inside supporting the individual causes. Sky Cow flew overhead as protests escalated into violence at times, people throwing kicks and punches as the large group of people moved through the streets of the area. Doesn't belong here, Rabbi Herzl Ilulian said when asked about the violence in the area. I don't think the Jewish would go in front of a mosque, or the Christian people would go in front of a mosque and do such a thing, or anything would be okay here. When it comes to Jews in Israel, everything is kosher, everything is okay. LAPD officers wearing riot gear formed skirmish lines and declared unlawful assembly at one point. Despite this, the chaos continued for hours, lasting until 5 p.m. Different videos showed swarms of LAPD officers with guns drawn detained two people who were shouting at protesters from inside of a Range Rover. After the two adults were put in handcuffs, officers could be seen taking a toddler sitting in the car seat in the back seat of the car. A large amount of LAPD officers could be seen as they worked to break up the gathering. After the incident, the United Jewish Coalition issued a statement which read in part, "The Jews of Los Angeles are no longer safe. The defense of June 23rd brought to life the darkest nightmare many of us hope we would have witnessed on American soil. Synagogue leaders say that there is an event being held for people interested in purchasing a home in Israel." Hassam Al-Yush, a director of CARE, Council on Islamic Relations, said he condemns the violence from all sides. All places of worship should be safe from being violated, from being targeted. However, he concluded what he alleged was the nature of the event. This is about stealing land or selling stolen land in order to build racially segregated settlements. LAPD said one person was arrested during the incident. LAPD will be investigating 2 reported batteries. We will always protect First Amendment rights of people wanting to protest. Violence and crime, however, will not be tolerated. President Biden says, "I'm appalled by the scenes outside of Adas Torah Synagogue in Los Angeles. Intimidating Jewish congregants is dangerous, unconscionable, anti-Semitic, and un-American." Gavin Newsom issued a statement on the same day. "Violent clashes outside Adas Torah Synagogue in Los Angeles are appalling. There's no excuse for targeting a house of worship. Such anti-Semitic hatred has no place or in California." Karen Bass also issued a statement. "Today's violence in Pico Robinson neighborhood today was abhorrent, and blocking access to a place of worship is unacceptable. I've called on LAPD to provide additional patrols in Pico Robinson community, as well as outside of houses of worship throughout the city. I'll be meeting with Chief Choi tomorrow to further discuss the safety of Angelinos. I want to be clear, Los Angeles will not be a harbor for anti-Semitism and violence. Those responsible for either will be found and held accountable." I'll be joining Councilwoman Katie Yaroslavsky, Chief Executive Officer of the Jewish Federation of Los Angeles, Rabbi Noah Farkas, and other law enforcement and faith leaders in a community gathering as we take steps forward together. That's from the CBS News article. Hey, Jolie, good to see you. See, Whisper Mason, "I'm not putting anything past either side in this thing. I believe both sides are capable of doing dumb things here. I just don't know what to do about it." Well, yeah, I mean, personally, I'm going to say that these sort of events are dumb, in that, you know, they tend to fan the flames of, the people who don't like, quote, Zionism, although the word Zionism at this point has kind of lost all meaning, because of the fact that what is a Zionist? Am I a Zionist? Ask Benjamin Netanyahu if I'm a Zionist. He'll say no. Ask Hamas if I'm a Zionist. They'll say yes. Ask somebody else. It really depends on what their point of view is. Because depending on the context of the conversation will depend on whether or not they're going to see my views as being Zionist or not. Is a two-state solution Zionist? Zionists would have told you way back in the day, absolutely not. But there are people today that says that if you believe that Israel retaining a single inch of land would be Zionist in and of itself. So, let's see. Jeff, just be careful not to call people crazy Canadians on Facebook, because my wife did that once, talking about their use of bagged milk, and she got suspended for 3 days. Let's see, this other thing, press releases, CARE, Los Angeles condemns event promoting real estate sale of occupied Palestinian land at 2 California synagogues, calls for investigation into violence in Los Angeles event. So LA Valley on June 20th, LA Pico Sunday, June 23rd, from 12 to 7. That's a long-ass seminar on real estate. How can you sit for that's such a long thing in it, just about real estate in general, let alone about this. Let's flip over to this thing real quick. Let's go to the alternate screen. Real estate in Israel. This is the flyer that was seen. I don't know why we have that open. The mega event of the year is coming to North America. Attorneys, transferring funds, mortgage advisors, home management, My Home in Israel Real Estate, IMP International Marketing and Promotion, This is basically what was being talked about and what was being protested there. IMP International, my home in Israel. Let's just see. IMP homepage. Jewish and niche marketing specialist, including digital and content marketing, PR, and media buying. So that's the people who... So IMP is just the marketing folks. So let's just look up the My Home in Israel listings. See if that lists anything. Because My Israel Home. Let's see. Boo, 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 boo. Let's go back to the alternate again. This is the website. My Israel Home. Buying a home in Israel is a thrilling milestone, but it can also be daunting. My Israel Home is a real estate brokerage firm that is committed to providing unparalleled customer service. We have access to thousands of homes for sale in Jerusalem and across Israel. However, you will not find a long list of properties for sale on our website. We believe a more effective approach is for us to understand your requirements and work with you to create individual acquisition strategy. Yeah, so they're sneaky. Sold new projects, sold existing units, sold properties existing or secondhand. We have access to excellent network of owners and agents to hundreds of properties for sale to find the right property for your unique needs. We'll create your individual buyer profile to identify appropriate properties for your consideration. It'll be our pleasure to address your particular requirements and give you the right. So Jerusalem, Beit Shemesh. 250 square meters, semi-detached house. So they're showing some. They're not showing the full addresses, but where's that? Geni Modin. Search that, see where that is in the area. It's an Israeli settlement in the West Bank. So there you go. That's the problem. That is the problem. One of the lamp things here that was listed is this, like right here. Hashmonaim in Geni Modin. It's 270 square meters, 6-room, beautifully renovated, strong. It's a strong location. There's no locations that are stronger. But Geni Modin is a place that's in the West Bank. Let's see. So you have let's kind of scroll out a little bit just to see. It's like right inside, but like the armistice line of the West Bank is like right there, and that's where Geni Modin is. 1949 armistice line is right there, and this is where it is. So it's right inside the West Bank. So this is the problem that the people who are supporting of the Palestinian cause rightly have, is that this company, My Jewish Home, is pushing land or pushing houses that are inside the West Bank. That's supposed to be Palestinian territory. You're helping to perpetuate the settlements. You're helping to perpetuate the problem. And so no wonder groups like CARE are pissed the heck off. It doesn't excuse the violence. It doesn't excuse blocking entry to a synagogue. None of that's excused. But you have to at least understand why the people are pissed off over the whole damn thing. And that's why. You're freaking in Hashmonaim on the West Bank. Ramat Modin. Geni Modin. You're in these places that are inside the West Bank. If you were outside the West Bank, if you were in what was supposed to be Israel proper after the armistice lines were formed or whatever Jordan took over in 49 or 48, whatever Egypt took over as Gaza and, in the same time period, if you were outside those areas, fine. I'm not going to argue about it. Because ultimately, as part of a two-state solution, that's the land that Israel would control. And maybe if you came up with a two-state solution and swapped some land here for some land there, and the West Bank changed a little bit, and Israel's borders changed a little bit to deal with things like, these stupid-ass settlements, okay, fine. Then fine. But this company is not just simply, we're finding you nice houses. No, they're helping settlers perpetuate the settlements, which just continues to exacerbate the problems between Israel and the Palestinians, state of Israel and the Palestinian government and the Palestinian people. So, what do I know? Right? I've only been educated about this stuff for years, and whatever. Whisper Mason, Dan, while you've been on here, I've managed to sell your home, not on your behalf, but for myself and someone else. I'm going to need you to move out by the end of the broadcast. All right, cool. Vaya con Dios. I'll see you later. I mean, technically, I'm a Jewish person, and I did settle on the West Bank of New Orleans, so I am a Jew who's on the West Bank. This is just a completely whole ass different West Bank than the West Bank over there. So I don't think this real estate is necessarily taking the land specifically from them. I mean, they could be. They could be. I don't know. I haven't dug that deep onto it yet. But they're still helping. I mean, maybe they're selling somebody's house who's a settler who has existed there for maybe, I don't know, 1 year, 10 years, 5 years. I don't know how long that house has existed and who's owned that house for however long they've owned it. My point is that by helping to perpetuate Jews settling on the West Bank of the Jordan River, not of the Mississippi River. Hey, Rose. You are helping to perpetuate and exacerbate the problems that are going on between Israel and the Palestinians. And it's not okay, it's not good, and it's not something that I support. I'm vehemently against the settlements, 100%. The settlers are horrible people who are just, we have the right to do so because you're just making it worse. You're just making it worse. So, anyway. Besides Mason, if you Whisper Mason, if you are these cats have a home too, so you can't sell my house because we have a home. What's up, Jojo Mojo? Good to see you. Whisper, I've seen interviews from some settlers over the years. I agree. And there was this one interview or one guy that made horrible statements about, like, if I don't steal it, somebody else will. And I've talked about that one on the podcast before too, because I didn't know about that one until I saw the picture of it. But the picture I saw of it was a cartoony picture and not a real picture of the guy. And it was given without any context, so it basically made it look like here's some caricature of a Jewish person who's basically perpetuating the idea that Jews are coming to steal your stuff. And so again, the guy who was caricatured was a dill hole, but that doesn't make the picture any more right. And a graphic designer friend of mine, specifically Demonox, the first Liberal Dan Radio patron, he is a graphic designer, and he verified for me that the nose was in fact photoshopped made to be looked bigger, because you couldn't find any such example of the picture where the nose looked like that. So they clearly cartooned it up and made his nose look bigger just to perpetuate the anti-Semitic stereotypes and tropes that they wanted to push with this image. So, Whisper Mason, no. One of the things, though, that I'll say about Gaza and people living in Gaza, people living under Hamas, or I won't be so fast to condemn the Palestinians living in Hamas. I mean, there's some things clearly I'll condemn. One of the things, for example, that some people who are on the Netanyahu side or Israel side or whatever you want to call it, is when some of these hostages were found and freed from the most recent raid, they said that some of these people were living in the homes of other Palestinians. Now, you hear that and you're like, well, clearly these people then who are claiming just to be innocent civilians, they're clearly just part of Hamas and Hamas sympathizers and yada, yada, yada. And you might be right in thinking that, but are you? But is it actually correct? Because if you're a simple, peace-loving individual who doesn't want to have their family killed, and you're told by the terrorist group that's controlling the place that you live, i.e. Hamas, that you're going to have these Israeli hostages live in your house, are you going to tell Hamas no? Are you going to be like, I'm sorry, I can't do that for you today. Go find another house to house these hostages. Or if you're a good person living in Gaza, living under the thumb of the Hamas folks, if you're a good person, would you maybe be like, sure, I will take these people in, and at least if they're living in my house whilst they're being held hostage, I can't control whether or not they're going to be held hostage, but if they're going to be living in my house when they're being held hostage, maybe I can control how good how well they're treated. Maybe I can improve their lives a little bit whilst they're waiting to go. It's a possibility. It's something that we can't ignore. So I'm not necessarily going to sit here and condemn anybody in living in Gaza just because they happen to be living under the thumb of Hamas. I'm willing to give people the benefit of the doubt, if you're living under the thumb of Hamas, that perhaps some of the things you're doing are not being done because you agree with them, but because you kind of have to go along to get along. This doesn't excuse some actions, obviously. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, if the people that did the attacks on 10/7, none of those people are justified at all for whatever they did. Every one of them should be punished for what they did. Especially the people that committed murders, especially the people that essayed people, etc., etc., etc. But you can't, you have to consider what the condition these Palestinian people are living in, especially when it comes to who's currently running the area. So, Josh, I don't want to be judged by MAGA's actions. Exactly, that's another thing too. Exactly. Like, if you were during the Donald Trump presidency, it'd be like me being judged because I live in a country that's run by Donald Trump. I mean, that's stupid. Now, of course, odds are, I'm not going to be put in a situation, at least I wasn't put in a situation by Donald Trump, where I had to house somebody who was a hostage. But thing is that who knows what's going to come with the next administration. Somehow think we'd have been all past this if Yitzhak Rabin wasn't killed, even then he gave up settlements in Israel, got rockets in return. Now it's Hamas terrorizing Israel. Yeah, I mean, although the thing that, if I'm remembering correctly, with the Yitzhak Rabin assassination, it was that one of the things that Jewish people were happy about was that the person who did it was a Jewish person. It was an angry right-winged Jewish person was upset over his concessions that he was willing to give in the name of peace. So, who is the Yitzhak Rabin out there today? I don't know. I really don't know. I know it's not. No, it's not Netanyahu. Ow! Thank you, Rose, for jabbing my legs. Jeez, that hurt. That's the thing. Like, problem with Israeli politics, though, it's been so monopolized by Netanyahu that even when he loses, it's like not a lot of people get. So I don't know enough about the rest of Israeli politics. I just know that I don't like Netanyahu at all. And then he went ahead and ended his little war council thing and just basically saying, all right, I don't need anybody else's advice anymore. I'm going to run this war how I want. That's why I didn't call it an assassination. I knew it was more or less, let's say, Lee Harvey Oswald. I mean, I don't know if it was an individual or a plot like JFK, but you know, as you know who says,
It is what it is.
thank you, Donald. So, what you cooking, Josh? I'm probably gonna have to eat. I ate at like 2 today, so I'm probably gonna have to eat after the podcast at some point. So, but one of the other things I wanted to talk about before we moved on to maybe some of the response videos to the toxic masculinity stuff. If you happen to be listening on Blog Talk Radio at this point, when I do the reaction videos to these, to the toxic masculinity type stuff, I'll let you know, it's not gonna be, you won't be able to hear the audio of those videos coming through to Blog Talk Radio. So if you want to follow along, the best way to do is to come to liberaldanradio.com or twitch.tv/liberaldanradio. You'll see the videos there. You'll be able to hear that audio, hear my audio as well. So if you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, the best thing to do, come on over to liberaldanradio.com, come on over to twitch.tv/liberaldanradio. Join us in those places. Best place to do it. Anyway, one other thing I wanted to talk about before we get to that was it's Islamophobia and anti-Semitism all rolled into one. So there was a case. There was a Texas woman who was accused of trying to drown a Muslim child in a racist attack. Elizabeth Wolfe, who was described by the Council of American Islamic Relations as a white American woman, was arrested on May 19th, originally charged with public intoxication. 42-year-old was later charged with attempted capital murder and injury to a child. According to CARE, the incident began when a 3-year-old's mother, who wears a hijab, was at a pool with her Muslim family. Wolfe approached the 32-year-old, identified only as Mrs. H, with racist interrogations. Wolfe asked if the mother was from, where she was from, if the 2 kids playing in the pool were hers. According to the police who spoke with her mother, the mother said that Wolfe made statements about her not being an American and other racial statements. At one point, Wolfe jumped in the pool to pull Mrs. H's daughter and 6-year-old son into the deep end. The boy managed to pull away, but Wolfe then allegedly attempted to force the 3-year-old underwater. When Mrs. H tried to rescue her daughter, Wolfe snatched off the mother's headscarf and used it to beat the mother, as well as kicking her to keep her away while forcing her daughter's head underwater. When Wolfe was finally taken into custody by officers, he allegedly shouted to a bystander who was comforting the mother, "Tell her I will kill her whole family." Witnesses told officers that Wolfe appeared intoxicated at the time of the incident. Mrs. H's 2 children were medically evaluated and cleared after the ordeal. Of course, medically cleared means physically they were cleared. These kids are going to need therapy and she should sue this woman to pay for therapy and many other things. We're American citizens originally from Palestine. I don't know where to go to feel safe with my kids. The mother said in a statement provided by CARE, "My country is facing a war. We're facing that hate here." Mrs. H said that her daughter remains traumatized. Whenever I open the apartment door, she runs away and hides, telling me she's afraid the lady will come and immerse her head in underwater again. Wolfe was released on bail the day after her arrest. She should not have been. According to CARE's Shaima Zayan, the organization now seeks not only hate crime probe, but a higher bail bond and a dialogue with officials about Islamophobia, anti-Arab, and anti-Palestinian sentiment. So why am I including this in anti-Semitism? Because clearly this incident was an Islamophobic attack and not an anti-Semitic attack. Well, after this happened, everybody was trying to say that this woman, this Wolfe, Elizabeth Wolfe, was Jewish. And they were trying to make it seem like that this person was a Jewish person. Even though there's nothing saying that this Elizabeth Wolfe person is Jewish. Some sites said it, but there's nothing that I've seen so far that has said that this person is actually Jewish. And if it's not, and if she actually turns out to be Jewish, her Jewishness is irrelevant to the story. Which is something else that I've tried to discuss when I called into Joe Gibson's podcast, whatever. Sometimes Jewishness is not relevant to the thing. Like when he called in here, like talking about like, you know, Jewish bankers or Jewish, you know, people who won Hollywood. Why does their Jewishness matter? It only matters if you're trying to perpetuate a point. Times of Israel says the U.S. woman has been charged with attempted murder. Elizabeth Wolf was charged with attempted capital murder in Euless, Texas. Blah, 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 blah. Described her as a white American woman. Did not describe her as Jewish. Other places have described her as Jewish, but that doesn't make it so. I mean, I'm looking at her. My Judar is not going off. I'm not sitting here. Granted, people look at me and their Judar does not go off either. But let's see. Let's do that search again. Yes, Suzanne, BB is absolutely a crook. Oh, hi, Bicycle Mike. It's good to see you. I'm sorry to hear that you're still in back pain. I'm very sorry to hear that. As I'm looking for this, Wednesday night, my wife was, I said my wife went out for a mom's night out. They went to a restaurant, supposed to have safe options for her for celiac. She got cross-contaminated. She could immediately tell that she got cross-contaminated. She felt funky. She also dealt with allergies the weekend before. I had also been dealing with allergies previous to that. I don't think I got her sick because even though I just gave a little minor cough, normally when I actually have an upper respiratory infection, it goes down to lower respiratory infection and just becomes a huge, lingering, pain in the ass cough. If you've listened and watched the show for a while, you know. So then, like, she ended up, like, the next day, like, Thursday, she ended up getting this, like, pain in the ear right here. And, like, just that. And we're like, oh, well, the way she knew that she had celiac a long time ago was she was getting constant, frequent ear infections. And her doctor was like, well, maybe it's celiac. Tested her for celiac. She said celiac. So we're thinking, oh, ear infection, clearly it's because you got gluten. Friday comes along, still kind of hurts. We go out for dinner, we go out for cider, come back in. Saturday morning she wakes up, she goes, I can't smile. I'm like, what? Can't smile. I'm like, well, half your face, whole your face. Half my face. I immediately go search up Bell's palsy. Find out, ask her all these questions. This, can you do this? Did you have this? Do you have a weird taste? I did have a weird taste. Okay. Is it just half your face? Yes. Can you do this? Yes. Can you do that? No. So I'm like, I think it's Bell palsy. Let's go to the urgent care place right now. If urgent care thinks it's worse than Bell's palsy, they'll send us to the ER. So we go to urgent care immediately. Before they even did the intake, they took her back and was like, all right, let's look at all these things. Can you do your eyebrows up and down? Can you do this and the other? They determined also that it was Bell's palsy before even checking her in because they wanted to make sure that she didn't have to go directly to the ER. So it's Bell's palsy. So she's been dealing with that these past few days, and it, sucks. So she still has some minor pain or whatever, but according to the thing that it says it's going to get worse before it gets better. So she's going to her regular doctor tomorrow, and hopefully it just stays the same as, or hopefully it gets better at that point. Hopefully it goes and gets better. I don't have to deal with anything else. What's up, Rose? What's up, Rose? Bill M, it's okay. A real man is here now, huh? I'll be right back. Wife says I have to take out the trash. What's that about? Whisper Moon, just once, can't these things be an angry Buddhist? If he's angry, does that disqualify him from being a Buddhist? I don't know. See, this one Ynet news article. It says she's Jewish, but I don't believe it. Just because that is saying it's Jewish, it doesn't mean that the person is. Like all of the websites that I'm seeing like don't seem like very reputable sites to believe whether or not the person is a nice Jewish girl or not. Obviously, she wouldn't be a nice Jewish girl, but still, it's one of those things. Jewishness becomes irrelevant, or Jewishness only is relevant if the faith is relevant. Yeah, because like Ynet News on Twitter shares Elizabeth Wolf, a Jewish woman charged with attempted murder of a Palestinian woman. Response, except she's not Jewish. She's not Jewish. Hey, Ynet News, can you please tell us where you got your evidence that this person is Jewish? I'm really curious to hear, especially no media is mentioning this against you, except for you or someone else, but she is a Jewish. What source do you have saying otherwise? I literally read 10 articles, not even care, claims she's Jewish. What are you doing? Yeah, somebody goes like, yeah, since there are so many Jews from Euless, Texas. Somebody else, how the F did you determine she's Jewish? I read she's Wolf, has been identified in documents as white and Asian or Pacific Islander. What are you doing? Irresponsible reporting, shame on you. Yeah, perhaps community notes should be delved into on there. What else? Nothing really. And Tim, yes, I am going to be covering the debate. I did mention that earlier, but yes, I am going to be doing. Normally I have other plans on Thursdays, but I'm going to not do those plans, and I will be doing the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version of the coverage of the debate, which means I'll have my Tom Servo, Crow, and Joel behind me watching as well, pointing it out. I won't be streaming it live on my channel because I don't want to have to deal with what Hal had to deal with at one time. But I will be watching it on my computer with the audio turned down, and I will also, and I'll be giving my commentary as it's going on. I probably won't do call-ins that day, so I probably won't have a Blog Talk Radio segment for it, but I'll be streaming it to both Twitch and YouTube. So Thursday, I'll be here. I'll be doing that. I'll start earlier if they also come out with a Supreme Court ruling as well when it comes to Trump's immunity. So we'll see. We might be killing two birds with one stone on Thursday. Dungeons and Dragons can wait till next year. It's not Dungeons and Dragons. It's gaming, but it's not Dungeons and Dragons. It's more card related. It's not Magic either. Trucker John's here. Hey, it's Trucker John with his fancy red badge. Look at that. Trucker John looks so good with his fancy red new loyalty badge. Sorry, had to pick that up. And just as a reminder, because of y'all's great help and awesomeness, and have to give Cal credit as well, but y'all came in and actually helped out with that too. We do, because I'm now at 1,000 subs, we do have the 3 new emojis as well. So yay, custom emojis, custom loyalty badges, reaching 1,000. I'm assuming we haven't seen any ads live during the middle of the stream, which is as intended, which is good. So I'm glad I got that right. But yeah, so that was, I think, the other thing I wanted to talk about when it came to religion and anti-Semitism. Seeing some article about Hooters closing 6% or closing dozens of underperforming stores. I'm wondering if Hooters is going to be the next Red Lobster. Everyone's going to be blaming Hooters. Everyone's going to be blaming, you know, the whatever, and not blaming the capitalism that probably caused the problem. Anyway. Trucker John has emojis too. I mean, he probably beat me to the emojis because he beat me to 1,000 subs. So now he's at the big time in the USA. Now he's named that song. Now he's at the big time in the USA. Yes, we have emojis, Kimchi. My mind keeps going to big time. So much larger than big time. But I know that's not what you're doing. Mike, only his followers can translate his glossalgia speaking in tongues. Hilarious. So let's go ahead. Let's mute the audio here as we bring up the stuff. I think I need to bring it up in here as well. Let's move the dashboard for Blog Talk Radio over here. Move it right over here. Stop being stupid. And then let's see. I prefer the Alien Ant Farm version, Jeff, over the Michael Jackson version. I just think it's that much better. Not to say anything bad about the Michael Jackson version. I have plenty of bad things to say about Michael Jackson, the individual. But the Michael Jackson version isn't necessarily bad, but I just think the version that Alien Ant Farm does is just superior. It's not, I mean, there are other versions of... Hold on, let's pause that for a second. Then we'll have to come back in and reorganize some things. But anyway, kind of like, you know, there's the Boys of Summer. Don Henley does Boys of Summer, and the Ataris do Boys of Summer, and I think both versions are equally as good. Kind of like how Live and Let Die by Paul McCartney and Wings and also Live and Let Die by Guns N' Roses, I think are kind of like 1 and 1A. Like I don't have a preference there. I think both are good. I didn't prepare the other thing that I was going to talk about, the silly thing. We're going to save all this type of talk to the end of the show. And I don't even remember what it was that I wanted to talk about at the end of this show to discuss. Does anybody remember what that was? Because of so much that's been going on with me personally, I forgot that I was going to do something at the end of this show, like the homework that I had given y'all, and I completely forgot about the homework that I gave you. Does anybody remember the homework that I gave you? I mean, we're going to get to toxic masculinity in a second, but there's the homework that I gave y'all to think about something, and now I don't even remember what the homework was. I guess all y'all get an A on the homework because I forgot what the homework was, right? So anyway, let's boom down to here. Let's open back up the other things. There we go. So now we can see other things. Let's put myself under here in case I want to make it another video or whatever. Aaron, your GPA is solid. Yes, your GPA is solid. The dog ate it. What is going on with my dog downstairs? Probably barking at the kids, not paying attention to her because she missed them. I usually do. I usually write it down. I usually have it where I say, hey, this is what I want to talk about. and this is what I want to do, and for some reason it's just I don't have it today. I don't know why. Let's just see if I can. I think it had something to do with movies. It was either movies or songs, but I don't remember. Someone's got to remember. Someone's got to remember. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But is that the same thing? I don't know. Did I cut or copy? I don't know if I cut or copied. S. Oh, that's that one. Yes. So we can delete that one now from there. All right. So welcome back. We're doing more live reactions to toxic masculinity. And in this place, Andrew, his based wife, explains why feminists are not actually equal. That's what's going on in this video. His based wife is telling us why feminists are not actually equal. So let's see what they have to say, shall we? Or she has to say, because sometimes women can perpetuate toxic masculinity. We'll refresh and go from the start.
How are you equal if the men are the ones that have to fight and die to defend the country? The men are the ones that build and maintain all the infrastructure, right? Like none of the...
All right, well, I think we've established the fact that women aren't equal, and they're still not equal. They don't have equal pay. They're still fighting for equal rights. We've just lost the right to body autonomy, which absolutely disproportionately affects women, because I mean, there are trans men who can't get pregnant, but the rights to the loss of body autonomy has absolutely harmed women. So there you go. But the fact that, you know, you have men have been the default in serving in the armed services, and men who've been the default in serving in construction, and so we've pushed men that way, doesn't mean that doesn't disprove that women should have equality. Like, this argument is completely doesn't make sense.
This stuff in the studio is built or maintained by women. Do you know that like 90% of infrastructure jobs are still held by men?
Mm-hmm. But why is that? Is that because we still push women into jobs that are for women, and men are pushed into jobs that are for men? Like, it's not seen as being, you know, manly for men to take certain positions. It's not seen as woman-like for women to want to go into certain fields, because as they show interest in these fields when they're younger, they're saying, oh no, you don't want to do that, Sally or whoever. Why don't you look at this instead? They steer you away from what your passions are because they have these assumptions of what gender should look like, and they're usually wrong. But you can't argue that people shouldn't be equal because we've perpetuated inequality in the workplace. If that's based means incredibly wrong, is that what based means these
And
days?
that if you look at the top 20 jobs held by women now in 2024 versus 1924 are almost the exact same. So women have had 100 years to do whatever they want, and they still...
Yes, because in 1925, it was very easy for women to just immediately jump in and grab all those high-paying CEO jobs and all those, you know, they could just jump in and take over for everything for men, because once you know, suffrage or whatever was obtained, everything was fixed, right? Nothing else that was going on at the time mattered. It didn't matter that you can't go serve. And if they wanted to go serve, you know, overseas in World War II, they'd be laughed out of the office, of the recruitment office. Wouldn't matter if they were physically capable of doing it. They'd be laughed at. They'd be told, no, go back in the kitchen. That's what they would be told. Because they were still incredibly sexist. Incredible sexism that existed then, incredible sexism that existed through time, even till today. So, no. What are you talking about, based wife of Andrew?
still do the same 20 jobs they did 100 years ago, other than We switched out farm labor for HR work. But other than that, we're secretaries, nurses, daycare ladies, early childhood education.
Because when men say, I want to work in a daycare, people laugh at them. When men say, I want to work, men are kind of looked at weird when they want to be nurses. Men are kind of looked at weird when they want to go into these fields that were traditionally held by women. Because you have to break down that tradition to overcome the sexism in society. And that's what these people don't get. They don't get this at all.
Administrative assistants, retail workers, all the same shit that we were a century ago. So how are you equal?
So, and of course, the problem with these clips is they're selectively picked. I haven't seen what these people said beforehand or afterwards to respond to this based person. Whisper Mason, it could be because you have to wait for the men who have jobs from the era of misogyny to retire to open up positions. Exactly right. So, Jolie, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I've ever met anybody named Sally. I have. She was my boss at one of my places that I worked at, and she was terrible. Dawn, I see plenty of women doing road work. Yeah, but it's not one of the top 20, so it doesn't count according to this based woman. She's based. It's one of their favorite words, based. She's based. All right, let's go to the next video, shall we? I don't even know which one this is. We're just going in blind. I know I saw some of it before, but we're going in blind.
What I'm realizing listening to this is that I long for a time when we didn't have to convince women. Yeah. I long for a time when we didn't have to be
that's not the time we're in.
How to pull them in and make them agree. It's like, how about we just say, this is what you do. This is your
Tell
role.
the men to do
These
that
are
then.
the things you're allowed to do.
Yeah, I just don't think that's a very effective.
Again, we talked about women perpetuating toxic masculinity, and here you go. There's another person, I want to say she's related to the person, she's married to the person in the next video, which just, how do you even marry this person? If it's Andrew is the person, how do you marry such a person? Maybe now I understand why, because she's terrible too. But tell women, if you want to be told what to do, if that's your kink, by all means, let your freak flag fly. If you love to be, if your kink is being told what to do and living in like a 50s household or whatever, if that's what you enjoy having done to you, if you like being submissive and subservient and that's what you choose and consent to do to your husband, by all means. I mean, I can't imagine being submissive or subservient to that schmuck, but still, go on. But don't push it on other people.
Effective way to
I think it's extremely effective because men have the monopoly on force.
It's not happening yet,
and if they just
men have the monopoly. The only reason men have the monopoly on force is because men had the monopoly on force and don't want to give it up, and you're helping to perpetuate that monopoly. You don't want to be busting up the cartel of the force cartel. We have plenty of ways that women could assert any sort of dominance that they would want to. But, men have the monopoly on force. It's gross. Yeah. Latusi's based as BS. Absolutely.
say no tomorrow if the men just say, you know what? No. Your feminism stuff, your women and making the choices and doing what you want, just no. How about that?
And there are groups of men who say that they're going to do that. It's one of the things, one of the border images of the Unravelling Toxic Masculinity image that I use. It's MGTOW, M-G-T-O-W, men going their own way. Men who have decided that they are saying no, that they are going to not deal with all this stuff. Now, problem is, they never do. I have one of my Facebook tag groups that I created is why don't MGTOW ever GTOW? Why don't the men who are going their own way ever go their own way? They never go away. They still stay around being a bunch of whiny bitches, complaining about all of the horrible women in feminism, blah, 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 blah. But you said you were going away, so bye. See you later. have fun leaving the gene pool. It'll be much better without you. It'll be much cleaner. Need much less shock in the pool.
That's a bad sales tactic.
Let me just-
I don't want to sell women on the patriarchy.
She doesn't
because
care, dude. She's
it
a
will be-
tyrannical dictator.
It will be a
Amen, sister.
never-ending torture chamber of, but what about
You're not-
the men
you're not
though?
wrong.
But what about my feelings? And but what about what I want? What I'm realizing,
It could be, and you'll see, because I'm pretty sure that the person in the next video that I saw that scrolled across my YouTube feed, I think this is Andrew. I think this is the person who she's married to, and he's a shitbag.
Yeah, but I feel like today's society, the media especially, is pushing a little bit too far. Like, for example, when it came to, women's rights and feminism and stuff, a lot of men actually helped women obtain those rights and stuff, right? Like, when it comes to...
Well, women didn't want them at all.
Women didn't want the rights at all. No, they didn't. None of them wanted rights at all. There was nobody marching on the streets, fighting for suffrage. Nobody helped write the suffrage amendment. Nobody helped to campaign for and get equality at the vote. And the equality at the vote, actually did something beneficial. Lots of things are beneficial. Like, for example, you saw much better health outcomes for children once you had women who were able to vote, because then politicians had to listen to those women, and the women were saying, hey, things would be so much better if we could have better, cleanliness when it came to delivery and when it came to, child rearing, and if we had ways to make sure that we had sterile environments, that these children would be less likely to die of diseases, and then they became less likely to die of diseases because women got the right to vote. But, hey, don't pay attention to me. I just do research. But, yeah, women didn't want it.
What do you mean women didn't want it at all? What?
Well,
didn't
so that
women
you
want?
understand.
And at all. They wanted it all. Not that there were just people who were anti-suffragettes, but they didn't want it all. I mean, you're always going to have like your Ann Coulters who now say maybe things would have been better if women weren't given the right to vote. Maybe there were people back then who legitimately believed that women shouldn't be able to vote. But you probably also had people who couldn't say, I believe in the right to vote, because they were married to some patriarchal scumbag who would have told them, you know what? You can't go out there and campaign for your right to vote. You're going to stand up there and you're going to be a good supportive wife in support of your husband who doesn't believe you should have the right to vote, and you're going to stand by my side. So she probably was just like, okay, because she didn't want to be abused or whatever might happen in such a household. But privately was probably like, yes, I got the right to vote. And then went to the voting booth and voted against all the things that her husband was voting for. Kind of like today, you'll have situations where, you have these people who are married to guys who are pro-life, but still in the ballot box, they go vote pro-choice. That's why in states like Ohio, you had an overturn of the abortion ban, because all of the people who were conservative, of all the people there, you probably had a good chunk who were women, who were conservatives, who have pro-life husbands, who went to the voting booth and said, like, keep abortion legal, but just don't tell my husband. That sort of thing. But let's go on to this, geniuses' ideas of what people go there. And I'm assuming that this is Andrew, and how can you marry such a schlub?
And almost every place that allowed women to actually vote on whether or not they should be allowed to vote, it was voted down. That's why the Supreme Court came in and made the amendment that was pushed by...
The Supreme Court came in and made the amendment? What? The Supreme Court made the amendment? Do you even know how laws are made? The Supreme Court didn't make the amendment. The amendment was created and passed the way that all other constitutional amendments are made. The Supreme Court didn't make the amendment. What kind of dumbasses do they have on this show? Well, I mean, we know the answer, but still.
By rich industrialists, essentially. But women themselves, the anti-suffragettes, far...
Okay, so now he's kind of crawfishing a little bit. So now it's just the anti-suffragettes, not women altogether, but the anti-suffragettes.
Far outnumbered the suffragettes, meaning the women...
Now, again, I'm going to say that this... I'm going to, I have a problem believing that as a fact, because I have a problem believing that that's actually a true statement. It's probably skewed in some way, but if it is skewed in some way, it's most likely skewed in a way of the way I described earlier, in that you had women who probably secretly were like, yes, I want to vote, but who publicly were like, you know what, I can't say it publicly because my wife's going to beat me when I get home, because, you know, that's what them husbands like to do.
Men who wanted to vote were far and away outnumbered by women who did not.
Yeah, but I feel like today's society,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where he's getting his facts. Maybe he's smoking something that's a little more strong than tobacco. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't necessarily believe that one bit. I probably could do a whole bunch of... because he's a snide, arrogant, condescending a-hole. And, I mean, I would probably gather that there's probably a good 50-50 shot that his so-called based wife feels like she has to be based in that way, because if she's not, then he's going to not be happy with her. Put it that way. Not saying he would do anything physical, not saying anything he would do anything emotional, but he wouldn't be happy. And perhaps she doesn't want to go against the wishes of what her husband might think. It's also possible that she absolutely has bought into this crap and just is more than happy to shovel it on other people too. But if you're marrying this schlub, I'm already going to question your ability to make good life choices. So, anyway, it is what it is. What do you think about this new Unraveling Toxic Masculinity video? Leave your comments below. Remember to like, subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And if you're new to the channel, that's just how when I'm recording things that I'm going to upload after the show's done, that's how I do it, so I don't have to re-edit it later. Wait, Suzanne is making my gutter mind jump off a cliff. What? What? Oh, wait, spermicide? Condom? Wait, what? I'm missing a whole bunch in the chat. So let's scroll back. How do you know when Bobert is on her period? She's only wearing one sock. Oh, jeez. Hilarious. Let's see. I missed that joke while talking about all the serious stuff. Suzanne not had a cycle in 25 years. Wow. Have you tried a stationary bike? Was that in reference to not... Oh. Very good, Whisper Moon. Have you tried to stay? That's very clever. I very much like it. Very good joke there, Whisper Moon. I appreciate that. I'd rather be nice like buttered rice. There you go. Wait. Who says, wait, Kimchi says lies? What is Kimchi saying lies about? Abstinence works. I mean, abstinence isn't perfect. I mean, you can't control if somebody essays you. That's my comment on. Whenever I'll always say in conversations about why abortion needs to be legal, one of the reasons why abortion needs to be legal is that there's no form of birth control that's 100% effective. And some conservative is always bound to say, well, what about contraception? What about abstinence? I'm like, abstinence isn't 100% effective because you can't control if somebody's going to come along and essay you and sexually assault you or whatever. And then they're like, oh, there you go. Suzanne, Trump has been defective since conception. He was probably conceived with the IUD in and then never took the IUD out. It's probably stuck in there somewhere. So, I was conceived with a whatchamacallit, when my mom had a IUD in. I was very stubborn. I still came out fine, supposedly. Do. Should we do, oh, Lord of mercy. We found a bunch, because yes, this guy is Andrew. Let's do it. Let's do some, I have not seen these ones before. I just searched up Andrew and whatever. Let's do several of these and see what this schmuck has to say now. No, it's not necessarily most optimal. I mean, it depends. The only reason it's more optimal now is because women still get paid less. But in reality, our optimal system is we both work from home. So therefore, we're both there for the kids as whenever we need to be, because we both work from home. But hey, that's optimal to me. Both working from home. Wait, what? What did he say? What? Why are we? That doesn't make any sense. That is a non sequitur comment. Again, I don't even understand what that means. I don't even understand what that deal is. Wait, Andrew gives fatherly advice to Helmet Girl. Oh Lord, Helmet. Gotta love Helmet Girl. Oh, I don't even wait. We didn't even hear the whole video because the video wasn't even played. So let's stop recording that because we've messed up. I was on mute. It was on mute. Lovely. No, I frickin' even... Hold on. I messed up. I lost the video too. Oh well. Anyway, so we're doing random watchings of Andrew on whatever, just to see whatever he has to say on these things. Let's do this. Now that we actually have it unmuted.
Whether you like it or not, there is always going to be, if we consider patriarchy to be the dominance of men, that's an inescapable fact. It can be hidden for a while. It can be protected.
It can be hidden for a while. I mean, no, you don't have to have it be hidden at all. You don't have to have it in it at all, because you don't have to subscribe to these archaic ideas.
Pretended that it's not true, and people can act as though it's not true, and people can act as though they have a higher set of values that they're moving towards. But ultimately, it will always reduce to force, and the pendulum...
It will always reduce the force to people with small minds. People with small minds will always reduce it to force, because that's the only way they understand things. That's the only way they know how to think. But just because you are an individual who can only conceptualize things in manners of force doesn't mean you represent the entirety of the whole or even a majority. And as we reject horrible arguments like yours, we can eliminate that and eliminate that pendulum altogether. We can break the pendulum.
And clock will always go back the other direction, and men...
The clock doesn't have to go backwards. In fact, the clock won't go backwards unless you force it to.
Will take rights away from other men and women. This will always be the cycle. And it has...
Men will always take rights away from men and other women, and that's the cycle. That's the way. It's the circle of life for a bunch of assholes. Anyway.
To actually be that way, because what ends up happening is through the form of egalitarianism comes its own special breed of oppression. And that oppression in the
Through egalitarianism comes its own special breed of oppression. Like, did you just put words into a thesaurus? Be like, let's find words and make them sound good.
search and the ever expanse for egalitarianism is what we see now, which is antinatalism and oppression towards male groups, oppression towards specific male groups over other male groups.
Yes, men are so oppressed. Please cry me a river.
All in the name of trying to make things equal. And so eventually
it's not oppressing people to make things equal. You know, life isn't pie.
it all just gets reset with force. This is what we see time and time again.
You're just because you're justifying it, just because you're appeal to tradition is a logical fallacy. He is appealing tradition, and that is a logical fallacy. Let's see. Let's see this one. This should be.
If we could make a law which curtailed female promiscuity, meaning it was criminal for both men and women to have premarital sex, and that led to better outcomes for society, would you do it?
No.
No. So, I mean, ultimately, for you, the hedonism and pure selfism is the most important value, not individualism.
It's an emphasis on empathy.
I like how he twisted it. It's hedonism, not individualism, because she believes, and I believe, that people should have the right to do whatever it is the hell they want to do with their own bodies. If it's better for society for people to have freedom, as long as they don't harm anybody else in doing whatever they want to do.
An individual.
The idea that society is somehow wronged or harmed because people are able to have premarital sex is not something that's proven. People have been having premarital sex since well before we accepted it as a culture.
Human rights.
That's not empathy.
Yes, it is. It's empathy for the individual, because your ideology is not based on empathy. It's based purely on subjectivism through the Bible and religious.
I haven't offered
truths.
a single biblical argument.
That doesn't mean that's not where your argument is based from, right? You're still basing your arguments off of some archaic, probably biblical. If I had to bet, you're probably trying to push this sort of idea. You're probably supporting things like Project 2025 or whatever like that, and all these other, Gilead type things. Probably wants a Gilead society. What's next? Andrew Wilson cooks 3 feminists over bear dilemma. The bear dilemma. The thing that lots of dudes don't get. The bear dilemma.
So if you're walking alone in the woods, would you rather come across a bear or a man?
I've come across bears. I do a lot of hiking, so they're not like...
What kind of bears?
Thankfully not a grizzly, but black bears. A lot in Wyoming. Was it Wyoming? Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, they kind of leave you alone. As long as you look down and you back away slowly, you don't make yourself look big, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a 30-minute thing.
So you've actually come across a bear. Were you alone or walking with friends?
No, I was with my mom and my sister. Yeah.
Okay.
We were backpacking.
And so you did come across an adult black bear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what did you guys do in that situation?
I want to get to his comment.
Them, like if you're backpacking, when you see them, you just kind of... I think it could go either way.
Okay.
But
so
I don't think
you did do that with the black bear, though. You looked down, walked back. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like when you see them.
Let's see.
Of men, do you think would attack you?
Well, we don't on the side of the road. Like on the side of the road, it'd be like, okay, that's
a man. It could be a good man. Some way, whatever way that might be.
All right. Well, I want to hear what he has to say. I don't want to hear the other things. Let's
I let's
get to the dumbass.
And like if
because I guarantee you he doesn't understand the rhetorical point.
You're not really engaging in good faith with the question, but
she just wants to come in contact with a bear in the wild. I think that's
I know.
Situation. The other one's estimates were still beyond high, but
all right, let's see. So we finally got to him.
55 million men, by your estimate, would want to
fix that, Nick.
Do something horrible to you in that situation. The other one's estimates were still beyond high, but you really think that 33 million men in the United States want to murder you in a forest if they could? Like, honestly, do you think that?
No, I was kind of just shooting a random number. I wasn't like, I feel like it's so broad. I don't know the percentages very for that. So I meant not a lot. Let's just go with not a lot.
Benefit.
Okay, then the other one's roughly 55 million. You think roughly 55 million men want to murder you in a forest?
No.
That is no.
I would like to say that like the misconception and like the high estimates are coming from the idea that as women we are kind of conditioned to feel.
I'm just going to stop this one here, because here's the thing with the whole man and bear thing, that people don't understand the whole man and bear thing, and the rhetorical point being made with it. It's not that they're going to feel safe by a bear. It's the fact that people who have gone through trauma have never been through trauma from a bear, but the trauma has been caused by men. So therefore, if given the opportunity, either a bear or a man, they're going to say, I'll risk the bear because I don't know what the average man is going to do to me. That's the point of the bear rhetorical point. Doesn't mean that the bear is safe. It doesn't mean that all men are going to do things to people. It's just that whenever people who make the bear argument have dealt with trauma in their lives, hasn't been from a bear, but it's been from a guy. I choose the bear too, because my trauma took place from a guy too. So there you go. I understand it. Fortunately, these people want to be hyper literal when it comes to this sort of thing. So anyway, again, what do you think? Agree, disagree? Leave comments down below. Like, subscribe. Have a good day. I don't know if that whole one's going to make it onto whatever or not, but not whatever. That is the whatever podcast, but make it onto the first one will definitely, but I might need to find more of his stuff just to respond to, because he has plenty of cringy stuff. Let's respond to some of the things I saw that was coming on. Yes, that was Candace Owens. Candace Owens has been on the whatever podcast. I think all sometimes with that dude Andrew or whatever. See, Christian nationalist women probably would say they deserved the essay for reasons to keep the baby. Probably. Jolie thought my wow, everyone's being quiet tonight. My chat was frozen. Nice. See, Big Hook, Hal is doing a recap of the debate Thursday, and I know, but I would be remiss if I didn't do it. It makes sense for me to do it. I'm also anticipating a review of the Supreme Court ruling that should be coming down Thursday as well. I'm assuming that the Supreme Court ruling will be on the last day, which I think is Thursday. So I'm assuming we'll be doing a 2-for-1 on Thursday, which will be both reviewing the debate and live commentary on the debate, and also reviewing the Supreme Court ruling whenever it comes down. So, yeah, I'm sure Dude's covering it. I'm sure a bunch of people are covering it. So, but here's the good thing, is if one of your favorite podcasters who doesn't happen to be me is doing it live and you want to watch that person live, you can watch that person live. You can always come back around and watch mine later. Works. You can support all the other things. Support all the shows and share all the shows. So, Kimchi, it means a bear is a known risk. You can mitigate, and men are much more mercurial and violent for no reason. True, that's also a good point. Trucker John, I've never heard of chrome underwear. What? Chastity belt for men, maybe. Doesn't sound very comfortable. I'm kind of disappointed my screen refreshed, because I did kind of want to see the I did kind of want to see the video where Andrew gives fatherly advice to Hat Girl, to the pointy hat girl. Maybe I should look that up and just see and do one more thing just to laugh. Oh, thank you, Janelle. Appreciate you. But let's go home. Let's see. Whatever. Andrew, fatherly advice, pointy hat. Just want to see what that one is, if that one exists. I'm just seeing Andrew Tate, not Andrew, the other schlub. Andrew Tate's also clearly horrible. But I don't know. Maybe I should look shorts. Maybe it's shorts I should be searching under. That should be it. Oh, that's Andrew Wilson on child support, which I still don't get that video. That first video that he did, it didn't make any sense whatsoever. Godly woman slams alpha male on marriage. Interesting. Lots of interesting stuff on there, but we're not going to go over that stuff today. I think we've had a little bit too much of the toxic masculinity at this point. Don't sit on your pointy hat, girl. That's a good advice. I doubt Supreme Court will rule. Bet they toss it down for clarification. And, well, I mean, if that's the case, then I'll comment on that, too. You know, it's very well possible that they say there is no blanket immunity, but there is some immunity. Go figure it out. And then we don't find an answer before the election. Not that it matters at this point. I am going to be on Wednesday. I am also going to be on Thursday. So I'm doing 3 shows this week. You get a 3-fer. 3 shows this week. Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So... anyway. But yeah, so... I mean, I do have to make up for the fact that the week of July 7th and 14th, I won't have any shows. So I might have to try and make up some content before then, just to have things to upload so y'all can watch and share and everything like that. But yeah, I will be live 3 times this week. And plus nerdydan.com tomorrow. And again, I said this earlier, but I want to say it again. If you go to twitch.tv/nerdydan.com tomorrow, there is I have to figure out exactly how it works. But I have, according to, let's pull it up real quick just to see. I haven't opted in for a new game yet, but for the new game, for the old game that I did, I earned 9. I earned 9 gift subs fairies. So I have to earn gift subs when your viewers reach mark goals. Then the gift subs earned will become available 3 days post-campaign. Add the gift subs fairy to your widget. When you're alive, make sure the widget is visible and hit the button below to reach the gift fairy. An SC support agent will come join within 30 minutes and gift the subs randomly. After the subs are gifted, you can delete the overlay from OBS. So come to the twitch.tv/nerdydan.com if you want to receive a free membership to the nerdydan.com on Twitch channel. And because I have 9 of them that are going to be given out. So might as well be you, right? So anyway, so let's go ahead. We'll probably go ahead and just let's pop this open. I'm probably just going to go ahead and end the show for today, though, because I think I'm all out of my topics that I wanted to talk about. And I forgot the homework. I need to go back and listen to one of the last shows and find the homework that I had for y'all, and we'll talk about that Wednesday. Wednesday, I am going to be talking about... I am going to be bringing on an old friend of the show, Amber Petrovich, who is doing another project of hers, and so we'll be talking about some economics, some fiscal policy, from her side, which is usually a very good side to be talking about. So it's Nerdy Dan tomorrow. Come around 8ish. I'll probably release I'll try and release the free subs fairy then. Twitch.tv/nerdydan.com tomorrow at 8. Wednesday again here, liberaldanradio.com, twitch.tv/liberaldanradio, regular time 8 p.m. Central as well. Thursday, I don't know exactly what time I'll go live on Thursday. It'll probably start a few minutes before the debate, unless there's a ruling to go over. Then I'll probably start even earlier than that. So until next time I see you, this is Dan Zimmerman with Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left. That's right.
$90. 60 seconds. Ten seconds.